On August 31st, 1886, at around 9:50 p.m., Charleston, South Carolina's landscape would be changed forever. A magnitude 7.3 earthquake ravaged the city, killing around 100 people and injuring thousands more. Now, many people may be thinking South Carolina doesn't sit anywhere close to a plate tectonic boundary, and while that's sort of true, a lot of research was done and it took place, and it was clear that there was an ancient buried fault from the breakup of Pangea many years ago that caused the crippling earthquake. And as you can see in the photo, you can see where the United States is and where the East Coast is and where Charleston is, and you can see where that boundary is that broke apart many years ago and caused this earthquake. During this time, there was already massive social unrest between the North and the South due to slavery, and Charleston was a major hub for slave ships. The social structure of the town had been torn apart, along with the actual walls separating the rich from the poor, which only created more visceral tensions. Now, I think the craziest part of the story is the amount of bad luck Charleston was on the receiving end of prior to the earthquake. In December 1861, Charleston was set aflame and caused the Great Fire of 1861, which burned through the city, causing widespread damage to buildings that were affected. And you can see in this photo the orange and reddish colors show where the flames kind of burned out, and basically any infrastructure in there was basically burned to a crisp. There's also a violent hurricane that ravaged the city the year of the earthquake. So, to say the least, the town had gone through some towering adversities over the years, and these adversities weakened the infrastructure at its core, causing the earthquake to finish the job. There was roughly a 20 to 30 mile long elliptical area of significant damage, and within city limits, almost all the buildings sustained some sort of damage, and nearly all had to be torn down and rebuilt. You can see a couple images here of all that damage that was done. Another huge impact was the damage done to railroads, basically cutting off Charleston from the world and the world from Charleston. Damage from this disaster cost around $5 to $6 million for the city to repair. There was a ton of research done in the wake of the massive earthquake. Before the earthquake struck, very little had gone into research on earthquakes. The USGS saw the earthquake as a major opportunity to capitalize the progression of seismology. They had William J. McGee, who had been in the earthquake itself. He was a seismologist himself. He studied earthquakes. And they had him gather as much data as he could since he was there as well. And I think what the interesting part with his story was that when the earthquake began, McGee realized what was going on and immediately began observing water that was near him in the room that he was in, to see if he could determine the direction of the waves causing the quake. I think that research is kind of really interesting that he knew in the moment to be able to look for this and see where maybe the location of the quake began. There was no way in actually capturing the seismology data, so they had to use observational data such as personal reports and physical damage to estimate the size and location of the epicenter of the earthquake. Since then, research has been done to conclude that this was not the first big earthquake to hit the region, but one of 7 large earthquakes during the prehistoric times, spanning more than 2,000 years out. Since this time, the area has recorded many small earthquakes, and to this day, 2 or more a year can usually be felt, even if only a small amount. These are said to still possibly be aftershocks linked to the massive quake of 1886.